Field in Louisville, Kentucky. Good evening to you, everyone, and welcome to the American Professional Slow Pitch Softball World Series. I'm Joe Boyle, and along with me, Jim Price, former Detroit Tiger star. Jim spent the past season playing for the Detroit Caesars in this league. Jim, we're all tied up at 3 games apiece. It's been the long ball for Milwaukee and defense for Kentucky. What can we look for tonight?
Well, tonight I think pitching is going to be the key, of course, in defense. You have 2 super pitchers. The winningest pitcher of all of softball, of course, Phil SCHROER. He's going to be the key, and of course he can also hit the ball, but also his defense is a factor. Then you have Weideman for Milwaukee. Now, if he can keep Kentucky from under, I'd say, 6 runs, Milwaukee looks like the favorite. But the team that wins the first game is going to have a lot of pressure on that team in the second game.
That pivotal 7th game is coming right up, and we'll have the starting lineups for you when we return in just a moment. Well, very quickly, we'll give you the starting lineup for the Milwaukee club. The first 3 men you'll look at: Greg Wagner, the right fielder. He'll be followed by Dennis GRASER, the first baseman, and Phil Higgins, the left center fielder for Milwaukee. There's a look at the rest of the order for you. You can look that over. We're just about ready to get underway. Out on the mound, Phil SCHROER, 40-8 on the regular season. He is 2-3 in series play. First pitch of the game, and we're underway. A call strike. Wagner, 316 average in the series. No homers. He has 2 RBIs. Good stop by SCHROER. Gets him. Fine play to start the game off.
Joe, that's that defense we were talking about, and of course both pitchers are known for the exceptional defense. And in softball, you know, so many of the hitters try to go back through the middle. The pitcher is a big key on defense, and of course there he took a base hit away from leadoff hitter.
Next batter will be Dennis GRASER, the first baseman. GRASER on the regular season at a 486 average, but during the series a 304 batting average, so he is down somewhat. 22 home runs on the season, but he has produced 3 round trippers in series play, so that portion of his game has held true to form. 1-0 pitch. Misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Kentucky won the first game of this series. And again, SCHROER's the man on the spot.
Reflexes, that's what it's all about. Okay, let's take a look at this one right here.
Just look at how quick he reacts here.
It's a bullet hit right back through the middle, and it's a sure base hit, but he speared it, took another base hit away. You know, Milwaukee could have just as easy had men on first and third, Joe.
With nobody out. Here is Phil Higgins. Higgins has good power and great speed. First pitch to him is inside. Regular season average of 531. He's batting just 348 during the series. COBBIE Harrison, the 5th infielder, throws him out. And very quickly here in the top half of inning number 1, Milwaukee 3 up, 3 down, nothing across after a half inning. Milwaukee nothing, and Kentucky coming to bat. So while we have the opportunity, let's take a look at that Kentucky batting order. And the first 3 men they will send up: NIKITAS, the second baseman, then Don Reardon, the third sacker, and Bill GATTI, their power man, the catcher. He'll be followed by COBBIE Harrison batting in the cleanup position, Phil SCHROER, the pitcher. Then it's Chuck Winters in left, Dave Whitlock, the first baseman, Greg Whitlock, the shortstop, Jerry Fritz, the right fielder, and Phil Gowdy, the center fielder for the Kentucky club. There's your batting order. And out on the mound, it is right-hander Rick Widerman. Widerman, just 21 years old, the most valuable player in the American Professional Slow Pitch Softball League this year, and also the leading hitter in the league. Widerman, on the regular season, a 37-18 one-loss mark. During the series, he has chalked up all of the decisions that have been rendered for Milwaukee. He is 3-3 so far on the year. And last night, Jim, I think we both commented on the fact that Rick was not getting back as far as he normally does, and he had some trouble on line drives up the middle that SCHROER was able to handle here in the top half of the first inning.
Yeah, there had to be a half a dozen balls that got by him, hit off his glove, and what have you, that turned out to be base hits or men got on base and eventually scored. He can't let that happen tonight. You've got to keep this Kentucky ball club down. You can't let them get 6 or 7 runs on you. If they do, with their defense and SCHROER on the mound, it's going to be tough for you to come back.
Milwaukee won the first game of the series. Kentucky took the next two. Or excuse me, vice versa. Kentucky took the first game of the series. Milwaukee the next two. Then Kentucky bounced back to take the fourth game, and even at 2 games apiece, Milwaukee got a leg up at 3-2, taking the first game of last night's doubleheader, and Kentucky took the nightcap. And that's where we are right now. 3 games apiece. It is a best 5 of 9 series. If somebody wins 2 games tonight, it's all over. NIKITAS, as you saw, has done very well with the stick, although his series average down from his season average.
You know, that was a pretty good example there, Joe. 3 pitches. He moved the ball around on all 3 pitches. He tried to come inside. He went outside. He came back inside again. So, as you can see, the pitchers have an idea what they're trying to do with the ball.
Just past the glove of shortstop Paul Wenzel on into left field, and Kentucky has their leadoff man on to start off the first inning. I was watching Whiterman as he delivered that pitch, and he did not get back too far, Jim, but he did seem to have himself in better fielding position than he was doing last night.
Yeah, I think you'll see a better job by him defensively tonight. That was just an off night for him, and I don't think he had many of them all year.
The batter's Don Reardon, the third baseman. Don right about on his season mark. 520 average in series play, was 516 on the regular season. Has not had a home run all year. He's a big guy. I'm sure he's capable of putting it out of the park. Reardon tied for the club lead in series play in doubles with 2. He also has a triple. Takes a called strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count on Reardon. Nobody down and a runner at first. CZAPLEWSKI, the second baseman. Wenzel, the shortstop. They get the double play. The 4th of the series for Milwaukee. And that cleans the bases.
That was a super play by the second baseman. Reardon hit the heck out of the ball in 1 hop. Now watch the second baseman. He fumbles a little bit. He doesn't take his eyes off of it. He makes a good soft throw to shortstop, over to first, and a super double play. You know, a key thing out here is not to panic. You know, the balls are hit so hard, you can keep them in front of you. You can usually make a play on the ball. If you panic and kick it around again, it's all over.
Here's the long ball threat for Kentucky. Bill Gatti, the catcher. 571 mark in series play. That's about 40 points better than his regular season mark. He leads both teams in triples in this series. He has a couple, leads his club in home runs, doubles, and he's tied for the club lead in RBIs. So he has had a very productive series.
And they're pitching carefully to him tonight. He hit a couple out of here last night that they're still going.
Dropped those last 2 right in on the outside corner. Count evens 2-2. Pitch is flat.
Yeah, 2 flat. And of course, his father owns this franchise here, Lawrence Gatti.
High and deep to left center field. Higgins drifting back, has room, and he makes the catch. So Kentucky goes without any damage in the first. No runs, a hit, no errors, and nobody left. After 1, it is Kentucky nothing, Milwaukee nothing. Play, and one thing we could point out here for those of you that have not been with us prior to tonight's action, that the 2 teams use differing defensive setups. Kentucky using in this game a 5-man defensive setup in the infield. They will use just 3 outfielders, and that's primarily because of the good speed they have in their center fielder, Phil Gowdy. While Milwaukee will go with a 4-man outfield and the conventional 4-man infield. The 5th infielder will rotate his position, Cobbie Harrison. On the last play of the last inning, on the first inning, he had moved over, and he will go there again and play on the third base side of second. And the shortstop, Whitlock, plays halfway between second and third.
Joe, I'm not really, I haven't seen it that much or played enough professional slow pitch to know that much about the 5-man infield. I personally, my first look at it, I don't really like it that much. I think it's good to show it, but to stay with it, I think you leave yourself open too much.
Jim Dillard goes first ball hunting, and he pumps it right down the left field line. He has good speed. The throw is a little bit off the bag. Harrison took it, but Dillard in there with a stand-up double.
And he picked up where he left off last night, another line shot for a double.
That gives him the series lead in doubles. That's his 4th. He had been tied with teammate Rick Whiterman, who is headed to the plate now. So Milwaukee, with a runner in scoring position, nobody out, and the league's leading hitter and most valuable player, Rick Whiterman, stands in. Whiterman with an almost unbelievable 778 average in series play. Hit .557 during the regular season. It is 300 feet down both lines, left and right field, and 330 to straightaway center field. A drive to right, that's a base hit. Gatti up with the ball, they're waving Dillard in. Here comes the throw. It's cut off, not in time. I believe that if SCHROER had not cut the ball off, they might have had a chance to get Dillard, Jim.
I think you're right. I think SCHROER made a mistake cutting that ball off. That's the catcher's play right there. He should. What we used to always try to do is if we would yell, it would be to cut. If we didn't say anything, you'd let the ball go through. I don't know what their signs are.
Maybe we can take another look at it and see whether they would have had a real opportunity to get him or not.
I think they would have. The ball had good carry on it, and it was thrown right on the money. Right there.
Yeah,
he's out.
Dillard had not gotten to the plate as yet. I think they might have had him.
I think they would have. They'll talk about that. Still early in the game yet, and maybe Phil felt that they had a better chance by cutting it off.
Base hit for Whiterman, and he goes to second on the throw. That brings Paul Wenzel to the plate. Wenzel leads both clubs in RBIs. He has 12. And he hits the ball to the right side, but Whiterman made a late decision to go to third and now goes. Yeah,
that's a base running mistake, even though he got out of it okay. When the ball's hit on the ground, the right side of the infield like that, you've got to go to third.
Leon Wenzel goes 4-3, second baseman to the first baseman, and Whiterman really, Jim, should have gone almost with the crack of the bat because Wenzel did his job. He hit the ball to the right side of the infield.
He sure did. He gave himself up and moved a run over. Now he's in scoring position. A fly ball, a deep enough fly ball, score another run.
Tom Boddy, the batter. Bodie. This is just Bodie's 5th appearance at the plate. He has 1 hit in 4 trips, 250 average. Hit .462 during the regular season and made the West All-Star team.
There it
that
is.
One to left.
Yeah.
That'll score Whiterman easily. Boddy trying to stretch it into 2, and the throw gets away from Harrison. Two-base hit credited for Tom Bodie. And that'll bring Dave JANICEK to the plate.
Joe, I'm not too sure that all these balls that they're hitting now would have been doubles if they'd be playing the 4-man outfield.
No, they're finding the holes in the outfield right now.
That's exactly right. They're hitting the gaps, and the runner can just keep going.
Bodie at second. He hasn't played that much over the last half of the season. He came up with a bad shoulder. There's a shot by JANICEK. That's going to drop. Bodie will be held up at the third as the throw comes back in. Well, a base hit for JANICEK. He is on at first, and Milwaukee really unloading here in the second inning. They have a couple of runs in, runners at first and third, and still only 1 man down, and Dick Laba, the third baseman, is the batter.
And this is the thing that Kentucky cannot afford to do. Let Milwaukee get out to, a big lead. They've got 2 runs in, and they've got a chance to have a big inning with only 1 out and men on first and third.
Steve Kaufman, the Kentucky manager, heads to the mound. He wants to talk things over with Phil SCHROER as pitcher. SCHROER managed the ball club last year, and talking to Steve and some of the other members of the Kentucky organization, they say it's like having a manager out on the field with Phil out there. He'll position the players where he wants them, that type of thing. But Kaufman is the man that runs the ball club. It's his first year in that position. Well, old catcher, what are they talking about out there?
I think they're going back to the 4-man outfield.
Well, let's see. Yeah. Cobbie Harrison will move over to first base, and they'll put Dave Whitlock out in left center field, so that'll give them a 4-man outfield, 4-man infield type situation. And I think what you were talking about, Jim, brought that about. Milwaukee's just been finding the holes in that 3-man outfield.
That's exactly right, and I know from a hitter standpoint, when you look out there with 4 outfielders, it's tougher to hit than it is with 5 infielders.
Well, it worked very well for him in the first inning, mainly because Milwaukee was shooting the ball right back up the middle, and SCHROER was able to cut 2 of them off.
The thing you have to remember, you do have time to do things with the ball in slow pitch like this. You can maneuver the ball around pretty good.
Laba to the first baseman Harrison, relays to the shortstop covering, throw to first, not in time, and a run comes in to score. And Kentucky, how about that call down at first base?
I think he had him. I think he was out. I think the ball beat the runner. But, of course, the umpire has the last word, and I haven't seen him change a decision yet. Here it is. It's pretty good play by Cobbie at first base. He wheels and gives a good throw to the shortstop, covering second. Now, let's see if we can see it. Well, we couldn't really tell there, but I think the ball nipped him, and it was a close play, and the umpire has the last say.
At any rate, Tom Bodie came in to score for Milwaukee to push their margin to 3-0. There are now 2 men down with Labas safe at first base.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times with an argument like that, they're not really that upset with the call. Maybe they want to get the umpire to let him know that, hey, we're on top of things tonight. This means a lot to us. We want you guys to bear down just as much as we're bearing down.
That'll bring the second sacker for Milwaukee, Doug CZAPLEWSKI, to the plate. Doug wrapping the ball about 150 points better than his regular season average. 661 in the series play, hit 442 on the regular season. All pro back in 1977. Headed for the hole, and it's right back up the middle. Whitlock cuts it off. Laba holds at second base. CZAPLEWSKI has another base hit. He has really been hitting the ball well for Milwaukee during this series. Greg Wagner, who lined right back to SCHROER, who tossed him out in the first inning, is the batter. Well, you talk about standing back in the box, and I don't mean back toward the catcher. He stands in the extreme outer portion of the batter's box. His heels are on the outside line of the batter's box.
I got to believe he wants to go back through the middle of the opposite field.
There you can see how far away from the plate he is. Whitlock won't get this one. They're waving the runner around third. Here comes the throw. Now they hold him up. And the throw cut off by SCHROER. They had waved the runner Laba around third, but then thought better of it and held him up when he made the turn.
That's the third base coach's decision there. I personally think with 2 outs, you got to send him in to take a shot at it. But of course, I'm not coaching third.
Now the base is full for Milwaukee, and Dennis GRASER, who lined back to SCHROER in the first inning as the batter, has 3 homers in series play. Looks the first pitch over, it's deep. Sacks full for Milwaukee. They already have scored 3.
And again, Joe, reminder, with a man on third, the ball gets away from the catcher. The man on third can come home.
He is the only runner that can advance.
That's exactly right.
3-0 pitch. That's a called strike. GRASER taken all the way. Right back to SCHROER, off his glove. Whitlock up with the ball. His throw to first is not in time, and a run comes in to score as Laba scores from third base. It's a base hit. That was really a shot.
It really was. Here we get a look at it from our center field cameras. It hits off of SCHROER's glove and his hand. You can see that. And the shortstop really made a good play, but he had no chance to get the runner at first base.
Well, here's Phil Higgins. Tough out because of his great speed.
Here's a move right here, bringing Reardon in to pitch for SCHROER. SCHROER's moving back over to third base now.
Well, they've reached SCHROER for 7 hits here in the second inning, and whether this is a permanent change, we'll just have to wait and see. Reardon did come in game number 4 and pitched the rest of the game and got the victory. He is 1-0 in series play. He was 8-7 on the regular season. 10th man of the inning for Milwaukee, Phil Higgins, will be the batter.
Joe, this Milwaukee club looks awfully tough tonight. They came out swinging the bat tonight, I'll tell you that.
7 hits, all here in inning number 2, the top half of same, and they are threatening to blow this thing wide open right here. A base hit would really make things tough for Kentucky. They have scored 4 already.
Yeah, there haven't been too many balls that haven't been hit like shots either, Joe.
First pitch to Higgins is in there for a strike. Reardon with a different motion than SCHROER had, and Higgins out in front of that one fouls it off. Now we'll point out here again, in case you have not been with us, with a 2-strike count, should a batter foul the ball, he is considered a strikeout victim. It constitutes a 3rd strike. And Higgins behind 0-2, which is right where a pitcher wants him.
Now, you better believe it. Now, what he should probably be doing is pitching him in tight to have him pull it. He pulled it.
High fly ball, deep left field. Winders back near the wall. A grand slam home run for Phil Higgins.
Holy smokes.
A grand slam homer for that man right there. His 2nd home run of the series. And Milwaukee jumps out to an 8-0 lead. 4 4 big RBIs for Phil Higgins.
He had 18 home runs during the season, and he can hit them out of any ballpark. Here we get a look at it. He had 2 strikes and no balls. This was not a good pitch by Reardon. It was not a good pitch. He'd like to have that one back, and there you can see he hit it out way out of the ballpark. A grand slam.
Wow, what an inning.
Yeah, Reardon is going to kick himself for that pitch.
Well, that brings another tough man with a stick to the plate, Jim Dillard. He doubled and scored his first time up this inning.
Candyman.
He already has 4 homers.
These guys are swinging tonight.
In the series. 8-0.
You know, when they beat us in the semifinal series, Joe, they were in Milwaukee. They were swinging the bat just like they are tonight. And, they, you know, of course, Detroit Caesars 2 years in a row world champs, and they just knocked us right out of the box. And that's how they're swinging the bat tonight.
Only thing is right now it's early in the game, so Kentucky still has a chance. Whitlock, left center field, and that finally retires Milwaukee here in the 3rd, but not before they come up with 8 runs on 8 hits. There were no Kentucky errors and nobody left on. After 1.5, it is Milwaukee 8 and Kentucky 0. Here at Bishop David Field in Louisville, Kentucky. If hockey is your game, ESPN's got the action for you. You join us for the U.S. Olympic hockey team as they clash with the St. Louis Blues, the Atlanta Flames, and the Washington Capitals of the National Hockey League. The Olympians will also meet the Canadian Olympic squad and the defending NCAA champions from the University of Minnesota. Join us this month and next for Olympic hockey action here on ESPN, your total sports cable network.
Joe, you know they're hanging from the rafters tonight. You can look out over the fences. There's all kind of people out there sitting on top of vans and trucks, and the bleachers and the grandstands are absolutely packed.
They have over 5 here tonight, I think, over 5,000. There's over 3 last night.
Right.
Tell you, this is, well, it's caught on in a lot of cities, yours included, Detroit, but it's really caught on in the Louisville, Kentucky area, too.
It really has. These people really relate to their players.
Cobbie Harrison will lead it off. He'll be followed by Phil Schreier and Chuck Winders. Harrison, a .450 average on the season. Jim, I think one of the problems Kentucky has now, and a lot of clubs have, you get down by 8, you get the feeling you got to do it all at once, but they still have time.
There's a good start, yeah. And this has been a problem for Kentucky. They're not a big run-producing team. They don't. You know, if they fall behind 8-0 like they are now, it's going to be tough for them to come back because they don't have that awesome power and the higher averages like Milwaukee has.
Now Phil Schreier, the batter. .455 mark in series play, no homers and 2 RBIs. Still a little bit under his regular season mark of .480. Well, some of the Kentucky fans urging their club on, trying to get him back in this ball game. Runner at first, nobody out. Schreier takes a called strike. Back of the plate, Ted Reel. We'll do the other umps in just a moment. Weiderman's next pitch is short. 1 ball, 1 strike. First base, Gary Ingram. Pete Neri is at second, and Felix Winfield is the third base umpire. Pitch misses inside from Weiderman, and he didn't like that call.
Oh.
Found the shortstop hole on that one, and before Wenzel could react, the ball was into left center field. Higgins fires it back in, and Kentucky has runners at first and second with nobody out. So here comes Kentucky.
What they have to do, they have to peck away and not try to get it back all at one time and get the base hits, advance the runners, and pick up a couple runs here, a couple runs there, and they'll be right back in the ball game.
The batter, Chuck Winders. There's a look at Rick Weiderman, the 21-year-old Milwaukee pitcher, most valuable player in the league this year.
And I have no idea what they're talking to the umpire about.
Well, everybody going back to their position. Dennis Grazer, the first baseman, was all the way over in that area, so we have to wait for him to get back. And now Weiderman is out talking to the second base umpire. What the discussion is about, I could not even begin to guess right here. He's going to bring plate umpire Ted Reel out there.
You know, and one thing it could be, Joe, maybe to break up the concentration of Kentucky. They got back-to-back base hits. They just want to break up the momentum a little bit.
Well, Chuck Winders, the batter. 29-year-old left fielder. He's a fireman by profession right now. I think he'd like to keep the fire going rather than put it out. Here's Higgins drifting back. That ball's carrying further than he thought. He has room, makes the catch. The runner's tag, and they'll move up on the play. That ball just kept carrying and carrying and carrying out there.
It really did. You know, and tonight, like last night, it was there was a nice little breeze blowing out before the game. The minute the game started tonight, just like last night, the wind stopped, and the wind is not a factor tonight.
Now Dave Whitlock started the game at first base, is now playing in left center field. He is just 21 years old. His brother Greg, also with the club, plays at short. This is his first year as a pro. One down, runners at second and third here in the bottom of the second for Kentucky. GRASER makes the play. He'll take the play at first. One run scores, and the other runner moves over to third base.
Yeah, and COBBIE made sure that he was going to be safe at home in case there was a play on him, and that's the way to do it.
Harrison scores from third. SCHROER moves from second to third. There are now two gone on the unassisted put out by Dennis GRASER at first base, but that was the smart move by GRASER to take the out that he was positive of rather than make the throw to the plate when you got a big lead.
Right, no doubt about it. If they were playing back, if he'd have been playing in, there would have been a play at the plate, or Harrison probably wouldn't even try to come in on it.
Here's Dave's brother Greg Whitlock, the shortstop. Right back to Whiterman. Has it. And that takes care of Kentucky here in the second inning. But they come up with a run on 2 hits, no errors, and they leave a runner stranded. After 2, it is Milwaukee 8 and Kentucky 1. Joe Boyle along with Jim Price here for game number 7 in the Professional Softball World Series. 8-1, Milwaukee leads it. Coming your way on ESPN. And ESPN will be presenting NCAA college football for you. 4 more big games coming your way this week, right here on your Total Sports Cable Network. So make a note now to join us for 4 more exciting NCAA college football games this week here on ESPN. Well, an 8-1 lead for Milwaukee, and they will try to add to that now as Rick Whiterman, the Milwaukee pitcher, comes to the plate. You know, Jim, I cannot help but think now that Milwaukee may have a problem keeping their concentration going. They got a big lead. Jerry Fritz drifting over, and he makes the catch in foul territory on Whiterman. You got to keep trying to add to that lead because Kentucky's just going to keep pecking away at it.
Yeah, what you have to do is play your game, and we talked about that in the pregame. If the team plays their game and keeps their perspective and how they got here and how they, for instance, how Milwaukee scored their 8 runs, they got the base hits and they got the big home run by the people who are supposed to hit the big home runs.
Here's Paul Wenzel, the shortstop, takes a called strike.
But if these other fellas that are not the long ball hitters start going for the fences, then they change their game, and then they could be on the outside looking in.
Breaking ball by Reardon. Pumps it up the middle. Gowdy over to his right, makes the catch, and there are 2 gone.
There's a prime example about that 4-man outfield. That's probably a base hit with a 3-man outfield. The ball hung up, and it Gowdy was able to make the catch. I don't know if we saw that on our cameras, but you could see how the ball sliced away. It went from left to right, and these balls do tricks. So these defensive players have to be on their toes.
Tom Boddy making his first start in the series for Milwaukee. Got a double, his second hit of the series.
Good example right there, Joe. The catcher tries to let the ball bounce up.
High fly, deep left field. Winders drifts back about 10 feet in front of the wall, makes the catch. So Milwaukee 3 up and 3 down here in the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left after 2.5. Milwaukee holding that 8-1 lead over Kentucky. Back here at Bishop David Field in Louisville, Kentucky, the Kentucky club will send Jerry Fritz, Bill Gowdy, the 9 and 10 batters to the plates for their first appearances of the afternoon, or the evening rather. And then NIKITAS, the second baseman, will come to the plate. I want to remind you that NCAA college soccer is coming your way here on ESPN. You won't want to miss a minute of such exciting games as Indiana against St. Louis, San Francisco, and Brown. It's NCAA college soccer coming your way in October here on ESPN, your Total Sports Cable Network.
Joe, I just started to touch on before we went to our break. What the pitcher has is a 3-foot to a 10-foot arc, and one of the key things that you want to do as a catcher is to let the ball bounce up, and that gives the umpire a better view of the pitch.
Jerry Fritz, the batter, 308 series average. Looks the first pitch over, it's outside. Fritz on a regular season, a 361 mark. He had a couple of homers. Jerry had some fielding problems in Milwaukee, but he was reinserted in the lineup in game number 6 last night. Came up with a hit and a couple of fine fielding plays out there, so he's back in right field tonight. Count even on him, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Fritz knows what he has to do. He's got to get on base. They can't let an inning go by without at least scoring 1 run, and then of course they got 1 inning. They're going to have to score a few more than that.
Right.
But again, Kentucky is not a big inning ball club. They've just got to scrap and claw and get their way back into this ball game.
Well, they had they are not a big inning ball club yet. In Milwaukee, they did have a couple of big ones. They came up with a 7-run inning and a 6-run inning there, so they're capable of it at times. But you're right, they're not consistently the big inning type of ball club. But Jerry Fritz gets it started for them here in the 3rd. Leadoff single. And here comes a guy that has really been one of the unsung heroes of this ball club all year defensively, and he has really come on with the bat during series play. Phil Gowdy hit .291 during the regular season, and his average in the series, .611 so far. So Phil has really had himself a series.
And of course, his defensive skills are outstanding.
That's going to drift foul. The right fielder for Milwaukee, body over there, but could not catch up with it as it's cleared the fence. They're using the Dudley White Stitch ball here in Kentucky. When we were in Milwaukee, they used the McGregor Red Stitch. The Dudley ball a lot livelier.
Yeah, for sure. I have a hard time hitting out that Red Stitch.
Right back up the middle, Weiderman to CZAPLEWSKI, the relay to first. Another double play for Milwaukee.
And folks, you have to be impressed with the defensive skills. Right there, it was a perfect double play ball. The key thing I want to point out to you, now watch the ball. Hit back 1 hop to Weiderman, but watch the throw to the second baseman. It's on the right-hand side of the base, perfect for the second baseman. Look at that. Right there, he had no trouble. He could turn it off. If that throw isn't good, the throw is the key. If he doesn't get a good throw, the second baseman or shortstop, you have a hard time turning over the double play. But Weiderman made that play.
Second double play of the game for Milwaukee and their 5th of the series. The batter is NIKITAS. He singled and was rubbed out on the front end of a double play back in the 1st inning. Takes a call strike, 1-1. Well, Weiderman doing a much better job defensively as the shots that Kentucky's been hitting up the middle, he has been able to cut off tonight. Last night, that was one of Milwaukee's problems.
Sure was. Yeah, he looks a little bouncier tonight. Of course, it's a cool evening, and you're playing for all the marbles. It's no time not to be bouncy, right, Joe?
Right. Second hit of the game for NIKITAS. He's on at first, and that brings Don Reardon. Started the game as the 3rd sacker for Kentucky. Has since moved to the mound and taken over the pitching chores. Right back up the middle. NIKITAS on his way to 3rd. Throw comes back in, he'll be held up there. And Kentucky, with 2 men down, trying to get something going, has runners at 1st and 3rd.
And the big man, the man that can put this ball game back to within, that would make it a 3-run game instantly.
Now Bill Gatti has the power.
Run, yeah.
There's a couple of runners on.
You think that double play wasn't a big play?
Oh boy. Gatti, so far in this series, 2 homers, 2 triples, 2 doubles, 10 RBIs, and a .571 World Series batting average. He has been the man with the stick for Kentucky. And he may not see much. We saw him come up in a situation like this last night, and Weiderman very carefully pitched around him.
Yeah, this man is very strong. He'll hit it out any place. Pitch
drifts outside, ball 2. Well, they don't want him to pull the ball, that's for sure, and I'm sure Weiderman's going to try to work him outside, trying to nail that corner if he could. There's another one that drifts. That one hits the outside corner.
I don't know about that pitch. That was awful flat.
2-1 pitch. Left center field, that'll score a run. Reardon holds at second as the throw comes back in from Phil Higgins. So Gatti has his 11th RBI of the series. He's on at first. NIKITAS has scored to make it 8-2. And COBBIE Harrison the batter.
You think it is an advantage to be strong? Whew. When he hits the ball, it goes like a rocket.
Harrison singled, scored the first run of the game for Kentucky in the second inning. Takes the first pitch too deep.
Joe, he's the big RBI man right here. He had 88 of them during the regular season.
High and fairly deep to left field. It's in foul territory. JANICEK over there, but he can't get to it as the ball goes into the crowd out there. So that evens the count at 1-1 on Harrison. And COBBIE, who has not hit a home run well in this series, had 8 on the year, and he pulled the string on that one. He was going for the downs.
He really was.
Now here's a guy that's played professional softball for a while and has been around softball for years and years, and I think you'll see him revert to his normal swing now and go for the RBI at second if he can bring him in. Flat pitch. 2 balls and a strike on Harrison. Phil SCHROER waiting on deck. On the ground to Laba. To CZAPLEWSKI at second, in time for the force. And that takes care of Kentucky, but they again come up with 1 run. This time on 4 hits. There were no errors and 2 men left on. After 3, it is Milwaukee 8 and Kentucky 2. The PBA Finals coming your way soon here on ESPN, your total sports cable network. Well, Milwaukee with a 6-run lead, or with an 8-2 margin, would like to try to add to that if they could. Dave JANICEK, the hitter. JANICEK singled in the second inning, so he's 1 for 1.
Gatti aired that back at Reardon.
Right back up the middle, and there's the hole with the 4-man infield, and JANICEK found it. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Top half of inning number 4. It's only the second time that Milwaukee has gotten their leadoff man on to open an inning. Last time they did it, they scored 8 runs. We'll see what happens this time.
Yeah, Kentucky's got to stop them right here. They can't give up any more runs.
Here's Dick Laba, the 3rd sacker.
That was the old knuckleball.
Dick hit into a force play his last time up, so he's 0 for 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kentucky started out with a 5-man infield. They have now gone back to the 4-man outfield, 4-man infield situation. 7 hits now for Kentucky, so they trail Milwaukee by only 2 in that department. That is drifting foul, and Jerry Fritz over there makes the catch. JANICEK tags, he'll go to second base. Fine running catch by Jerry Fritz, and he showed no fear of that fence at all as he moved into foul territory to make the catch.
No, he sure did, but that was a good play by JANICEK, going from first to second, tagging up, getting into scoring position.
And that's where he is now as Doug CZAPLEWSKI stands in. You know, both number 10 hitters in these clubs' orders, Gowdy for Kentucky and this fella right here for Milwaukee, have done very, very well at the plate. Pop this one up, though, and Gowdy makes the catch. JANICEK bluffs going. Throw! Not quite in time as COBBIE Harrison came over from first, tried to sneak in behind the runner JANICEK, and I don't think he knew he was coming.
No, that was, if he'd have caught it, that would have been a close play.
Well, a heads-up play by Harrison. You don't expect to see the first baseman breathing down your neck when you're standing off second base.
Those old veterans are crafty. When I say old, what, he's 33?
Well, there are 2 gone, and Greg Wagner, who's 1 for 2, the batter. Wagner, the right center fielder for Milwaukee. They lead it 8-2, but Kentucky has started to chip away at that lead. They have scored singletons in the second and third, and Milwaukee would like to add to their cushion here if they could. A base hit by Wagner would probably plate a run. Got underneath that one. Long run for Whitlock. Winders is there, though, and he makes the catch. So Milwaukee retired without any damage being done here in the fourth. They come up with no runs on one hit. There were no errors, and they leave a runner after 3 1/2. The score remains Milwaukee 8 and Kentucky 2. For NBA action right here on ESPN. Join us as the Washington Bullets of the NBA get into international competition and meet the Chinese national basketball team. The Washington Caps and the Chinese Nationals. Another feature October presentation on ESPN, your total sports cable network.
And Joe, the Chinese, they've learned to play basketball.
Yes, they have. And they got some big ball players.
Big guys. Yeah. I don't know where they get them out of, but
center that was over 7 foot, if I remember right.
That's right. And a karate expert too, probably.
Well, if they're going to play the NBA, they better. Gets a little rough in that area underneath.
You better believe it.
Right here it's softball, and Phil Schreier is the batter for Kentucky as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Kentucky down by 6. He'll be followed by Chuck Winders and Dave Whitlock.
And again, they have to get something started. They're down by 6 runs, and they've got to peck away. They've got to keep these innings going.
Kentucky has gotten their leadoff man on in every inning so far. The runner that Milwaukee left on in the top of the fourth is the only man they have left stranded all night, Jim. So they've made their hits count.
That's right. They've got to come up with more, though, and get some more runs fast.
2-1 pitch to Schreier. Is in there for a strike. Count evens 2-2.
You know, I don't think we're seeing as much hesitation or fakes by the pitchers tonight as we did last night.
Neither one. Weiderman with the reverse spin. This is Wagner. And there's one gone. So for the first time tonight, Kentucky fails to get their leadoff man on here in the fourth. That'll bring up Chuck Winders. He skied to Higgins in left center his first time up in the second inning. Just one error in the game. That by Kentucky. Right back to Weiderman. And he tosses him out, so there are quickly 2 gone.
2 going too easy, Joe.
Yeah.
2 routine plays.
Kentucky getting into a situation where they're going to have to come up with some runs. They'll have 3 more runs at it after this inning, but they scored 1 last inning after 2 were gone. See what they can do here. The batter, Dave Whitlock. And he gets on. So where there's life, as the old proverb says, there remains a flicker at any rate. Greg Whitlock, the shortstop, the batter. Greg, despite some lower back problems that made him a very doubtful participant in the games last night and tonight, has himself a .500 average in series play.
No.
And again, Weiderman is there to pick this one off. So he gets out of it. No runs. 1 hit for Kentucky in the fourth inning. There were no Milwaukee errors, and Kentucky leaves another runner stranded. After 4 complete now, the score, Milwaukee 8 and Kentucky 2. Right there is the sign you want to look for, because we want to remind you again about all the great hockey action we've got coming your way. The fastest game in town when the Olympic hockey team clashes with the St. Louis Blues, the Atlanta Flames and Washington Capitals of the NHL, right here on ESPN. They'll also meet the Olympic hockey team from Canada and the defending NCAA champions from the University of Minnesota. So great hockey action coming your way this month and next on Olympic hockey action here on ESPN, your total sports cable network.
Dennis Grazer's going to lead it off, and he's a big power man for Milwaukee, and let's see if he goes for the long ball here. He just tries to get a base hit, Joe.
That home run with the bases loaded by Phil Higgins for Milwaukee was their 12th round tripper of this series, and it came in game number 7. And I don't know if he's had a bigger one all year. That really put the icing on the cake, at least to this particular point of the game.
It really did.
But Milwaukee has not been able to add to those 8 runs that they scored in the second inning. Grazer will be followed by Higgins and Jim Dillard, the number 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Milwaukee order. Pitch is short, 1 ball, 1 strike. And you get a look from our center field camera. He looked like he had a notion on that one, took it, and it cost him.
I think he was looking for a pitch he can pull and hit it out of here.
Well, now he cannot afford to be so selective because the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Goes to the left side. Whitlock digs it out, throwing the dirt, and Harrison cannot dig it out.
Bad throw by Whitlock.
Now we get a chance to look at it again.
Yeah, GRASER did what he had to do, hit the ball in play, and Whitlock makes a good pickup on throw, but then he rushes. He takes, see that he took about 2 short skip hops and made a bad throw over to Harrison, and actually Harrison got his own feet tangled up. If he wasn't tangled up, he may have been able to scoop that ball.
Well, it's an error on Greg Whitlock, the shortstop, second Kentucky error of the game. So Milwaukee with their leadoff man on at first, and here's Phil Higgins, who hit the grand slam homer in the 2nd inning. He's going for the downs again, but he didn't get all of that. Winders back near the wall. He's got room and makes the catch right against the wall. GRASER trying to go to second, and he's in there safely. I tell you, he used all the ballpark at that.
Yeah, he wanted another one fast.
Well, here's another guy that can pump it over that left field wall.
Yeah, I think this, the Candyman is the strongest player on the Milwaukee team.
Very slightly built, but he really gets a lot into the swing. We saw him last night on a foul ball, nearly knocked the center field wall down.
You know, you talk about hitting and slow pitch. Some people say you got to have a long swing where you use all your body. Well, here's a case of a fellow, I think he does it on bat speed. He just builds up tremendous bat speed because he doesn't have the big body, and he's got to do it another way.
Well, he's hit 4 of them out of the series, had just 10 during the regular season, but Jim has had several seasons where he hit the long ball. He had 34 of them back in '77, so he got underneath that one.
Yeah, that was a slider, kind of a sliding pitch that went away from him, and Dillard pulled away, and he popped it up to left.
Winders again with the catch, so there are 2 gone, and GRASER has to hold up at second base.
Remember, folks, these pitchers are not just out there throwing the ball and say, here, hit it. They're pitching to spots. They're trying to go deep. They're trying to go short. They're trying to make the ball run in on a right-handed hitter, run in on a left-handed hitter. They're trying to do things with it.
8-2, Milwaukee leads it. GRASER at second, 2 down here in the top of the 5th, and here's Weiderman right back up the middle. That should score GRASER.
No problem.
He's around third. Gowdy comes up with the ball. No play on GRASER. And back to first goes Weiderman with an RBI single. It is 9-2. Well, he did just what he had to do. Got the base hit, pumped it right back up the middle, and Milwaukee is on the boards here in the 5th.
He's some kind of hitter. MVP of the league, all-pro, you name it. He did it all this year, and he's really the man that turned the Milwaukee franchise around.
Well, he's 2 for 3 in the game tonight and has driven in a couple of runs. Takes a called strike, does Paul Wenzel, the Milwaukee shortstop. Still looking for his first hit of the evening, and he got underneath that one. Winders and Whitlock converge on it. Winders calling, and that does it for Milwaukee in the 5th, but not before they come up with a run on 1 hit, 1 Kentucky error, and 1 man left on after 4 1/2. National Softball League World Series. We are tied at 3 games apiece, but right now Milwaukee trying to move out in front in this best 5 of 9 series, trying to take a 4-3 lead in games, and they have a 9-2 lead in this one.
And we have a standing room only crowd tonight. In fact, they're standing out around the fences on trucks and vans, and they're awful quiet, Joe.
Well, they haven't had too much to cheer about right to this point, but Jerry Fritz will try to get them going here in the bottom half of the 5th. He'll be followed by Phil Gowdy and Nick NIKITAS. Fritz 1 for 1 in the game. CZAPLEWSKI can't dig it out. And Fritz will be on.
That's an error, no doubt about that.
Error on the second baseman. Doug CZAPLEWSKI, that's his 3rd error of the series.
He just didn't get his glove down on the ground. It's a lot easier to come up from the ground than it is from... Okay, let's take another look at it. You can see he's there in plenty of time. It's not that tough a play. See his glove, it was high, it wasn't down on the ground. They always teach you to start with your glove low and come up.
Phil Gowdy, the batter. Long drive to left.
Can of corn.
JANICEK is there, hauls it in. The runner, Fritz, tags at first, and he goes to second on the fly ball out to left field.
That was a pretty darn good throw from left field.
Yeah, and especially when you consider that JANICEK was going in the other direction as he made the catch. He was going back towards the wall and really got something on that ball.
That was awful close.
Well, 1 gone, a runner in scoring position in the person of Jerry Fritz out at second base for Kentucky. And Nick NIKITAS, who's 2 for 2 on the night. the Kentucky second sacker.
Even though it's only one run, that run on second base is a big run for Kentucky. They've got to start narrowing the gap.
Well, they'd get that run back that Milwaukee got on the top of the inning. And
knuckleball.
Picked off by Whiterman. Good stab by Whiterman, and he throws him out. That's the type of play that Rick was not making last night.
That's for sure. That ball last night might have been a base hit or off his glove. But he gobbled it up, no problem.
So there are two gone, and that leaves it up to Don Reardon. Reardon has hit into a double play and singled, 1 for 2. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Kentucky on the short end of a 9-2 score. Runner at second. And Don Reardon at the plate.
There's a base hit.
Base hit to left. They're waving Fritz around third. JANICEK makes the throw into second base, wisely so.
Yeah.
And that holds Reardon at first.
Now, if he wouldn't have slipped, there's no way the coach from third would have sent in the runner to score. But he slipped, and that gave the runner to score with no problem. Gave the chance to him to score. Remember, I don't think we told the folks tonight, but they had a lot of rain here the day before yesterday. And
field still shows it a little bit.
Right. Yep. But the field in great condition even after that. In fact, I think this is the perfect softball field. The dimensions are just right. 300 down both lines, 330 to center, and probably, what, 310, 315 to the power alley. So that's perfect for softball.
It's a great ballpark, really is. Well, it's now 9-3 as Kentucky plates a run here in the 5th, and Bill Gatti, a base hit in 2 trips. And he is the power man for Kentucky.
Let's see how Whiterman works him. Outside.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep it outside on him. At least they can take away his power to left that way. Although he's big enough to punch it out to right if he gets the right pitch.
He had a notion to go after that one, but he's going to wait for a pitch that he can do something with.
2 balls, no strikes. The count on Gatti with Cobbie Harrison waiting on deck. Way outside.
Yeah.
Gets that one in the outside corner. 3-1 pitch. Misses outside, and that's the first walk given up by either pitcher tonight.
And that's not a bad walk. That's what's the old word for that? The intentional pass.
Well, that moves Reardon over to second base. Gatti is on at first, and the cleanup hitter for Kentucky, Cobbie Harrison, the batter.
Here's the old pro that we talked about. The old pro's got to come through.
And again, Whiterman continues to work that outside corner.
There it is.
Gets by Whiterman on into center field. They will wave Reardon around third. Here comes the throw. Gatti will hold up at third base. Harrison with a run-scoring single is on at first, and it is a 9-4 ball game.
And Kentucky's doing just what we talked about. They've got the peck away, and by golly, they're back in this ball game. It's now 9-4. Men on first and third, and another old pro, Phil SCHROER, at the dish.
Well, and he's a tough out. 1 for 2 in the game.
And he'll be doing one thing, and that's trying to go right back through the middle.
Harrison with his 11th RBI of the series. He and Gatti are tied for the team lead in that department. 0-1 pitch. Off Laba's glove. Joe to second in time to get the runner, Harrison, who had held up. I'll tell you what, I don't know that Harrison knew there were 2 outs. Otherwise, I think he'd have been going.
Actually, it was a hard hit ball, but the third baseman should have had it. He may have lost it in the stands. But then what happened is Harrison, like you said, Joe, must have thought there was only 1 out, and he stopped. Then all of a sudden he saw that there were 2 outs, and he tried to get the second too late. A big mistake by Harrison.
Now Kentucky comes up with a couple of runs on 2 hits. There was 1 Milwaukee error, and they leave 2 men on. So after 5, it is now Milwaukee 9 and Kentucky 4. Game number 7 of the World Series. 2 teams tied at 3 apiece. This is a best 5 of 9 series, so if one of the teams were to sweep here tonight, that would be it.
That would be the end of it. But the way it's been going, Joe, I think we're going to be back here tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Well, see, Jim, you were not with me for the first 4 games, but we have not seen a sweep yet.
That's right.
They split the first evening's action in Milwaukee. They split the second night there. They split last night here in Kentucky. And right now, Milwaukee with a 5-run margin in this one. As we go to the top half of inning number 6, and Tom Bodie will lead it off. Bodie 1 for 2, a double, and he scored back in the second inning. It's the first regular action that Bodie has seen in the series. He's been used as a pinch hitter a couple of times prior, well, 4 times prior to tonight. Got underneath that one, lifts it to fairly deep center field. Gowdy gets back there, though. Boy, he covers a lot of ground.
Racehorse. Racehorse from Louisville, right?
Sure is.
Where the greatest come from.
Thoroughbred.
Thoroughbred, that's right.
Dave JANICEK, it was 2 for 2 on the night. JANICEK wrapping the ball during series play right about on the button with his regular season mark. His average coming into the game tonight in the series, 412, and he was a 400 hitter on the year. Got out in front of that one and pulls it foul. Nothing in 1 to count on him. Milwaukee got 8 in the second, 1 in the 5th. Kentucky has chipped away with singletons in the second, third, and 2 in the 5th.
And they could have had more, really. That was a mental mistake by Harrison, and a ball hit like that with 2 outs, you should never stop partway down.
Ball broke in on JANICEK.
Knuckleball.
Gowdy has this one measured. Quickly, 2 gone in the 6th. 9 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for Milwaukee. 4 runs, 10 hits, and 2 boots for Kentucky so far. Difference to this point has been men left on, Jim.
That's right.
Milwaukee stranded 2, and Kentucky has stranded 6 runners. Here's CZAPLEWSKI. Started to say the last time he was up that he has really been a surprise for Milwaukee. That's right near the foul line. A fair ball. CZAPLEWSKI trying to stretch it into 2, and he's in there. He is 2 for 3 in this game, and on the season hit 442. Came into this game hitting .611 in the series.
Let's take a look at this. We won't be able to tell with this angle how the ball really kind of drifted back a little bit. There you can see, you couldn't tell from that angle, but
about
normally
6 inches.
that ball would go to the right normally, but there it came back and came back fair, and he made a good play, never stopped and got a double, and now he's in scoring position.
Greg Wagner with a chance to play to run. Gowdy drifts back underneath it, and the right center fielder hauls it in. So Milwaukee retired without any damage being done in the 6th. No runs. They got a hit, no Kentucky errors, and they left 1 man on. So after 5 1/2, Milwaukee continues to cling to that 9-4 lead. For the crowd here at Bishop David Field in Louisville, Kentucky, they are enthusiastic Kentucky fans, but they really haven't had too much to cheer about so far tonight.
No, they haven't. And in fact, this afternoon, the Louisville Cardinals got beat. They didn't have much to cheer about. And University of Kentucky got beat.
It has not been a good day thus far.
It hasn't.
Well, we'll see what Kentucky can do about that 5-run Milwaukee lead here in the bottom half of the 6th inning as they send Chuck Winders, Dave Whitlock, and brother Greg Whitlock to the plate.
Now, these are the fellows that are going to have to come through. The fellows at the tail end of the order. They've got to get on base for the fellows up front that can hit the ball out or hit the, knock them in and make this game a lot closer, Joe.
Winders and the 2 Whitlocks, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the Kentucky order. In there for a strike. And Whiterman, of course, has to be careful with them because they're not the type of hitters he wants to walk. Tell you, Winders got a lot of that ball. JANICEK right at the wall. Winders gave it a pretty good ride.
Yeah, he did. I think the ball's carrying a little bit better tonight than it did last night, even though it's a little cooler tonight, but it seems like the ball's drifting better towards the fence.
Gowdy, the last time up, used up almost all the ballpark, and the ball, especially to left, seems to be carrying very well.
And again, there's no wind. The wind is not a factor.
Dave Whitlock started the game at first base. He's now playing in left center field. He's 1 for 2. Takes the first pitch inside for a ball. Here's a good look at, you can see where the ball comes in over the plate. That one misses inside.
That's right.
You can also see a little bit of a break on that ball.
That's right.
Pitch hits the corner for a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Watch it again now. Again, misses inside. May have been a little high with that one.
And what he doesn't want to do is walk him. With the 9-4 lead, there's no way you want to put a man on with a walk.
And he does.
And he does.
First walk of the game. That really upset the second walk of the game for Leiterman. The other was to Bill Gatti and was almost, as Jim pointed out, an intentional pass. But Dave Whitlock on at first now, so.
It's like a base hit, Joe.
Oh, yeah. And that brings Greg Whitlock to the plate. He has grounded out twice. Once to short, the other time back to Leiterman on the mound. Left field, JANICEK gets there. Came a long way to get it.
Yes, he did. The ball was hit hard in the gap, and JANICEK gobbled it up with no problem. Here it is. Ball's hit hard. Whitlock got a hold of it pretty good. Look where JANICEK came from. A good running catch.
So there are 2 gone, and Whitlock has to go back and hold on at first.
Joe, these guys are all such good athletes that it amazed me at first, but now I'm kind of used to it after playing with the Caesars and announcing the games with you. I really have more of an admiration for a lot of these players.
That will be fouled. Jerry Fritz is the batter. Jerry's been on both times tonight. He singled in the 3rd and got on an error on CZAPLEWSKI in the 5th inning. He scored in the 5th. First base umpire Gary Ingram checks the ball over. Says we need a new one.
Only 4 outs left for Kentucky, Joe.
Yeah, time's getting short.
Yes, it is. And if Milwaukee does hold on and win this first game, and when we go into the second game, a lot of pressure is going to be on this Kentucky team. And I even think more so at home, because the home fans put that little bit more pressure on you to win.
Yeah, you're a little looser on the road.
That's exactly right.
0-1, the count on Fritz, with Dave Whitlock at first. CZAPLEWSKI comes up with it and throws to Wenzel, covering in time for the force on Whitlock moving over. Fine play by the second baseman, Doug CZAPLEWSKI. Kentucky gone in the 6th without denting the scoreboard. No runs, no hits, no errors, and they leave a runner. After 6, it is still Milwaukee 9 and Kentucky 4. Well, 9-4, Milwaukee leads it by 5. We go into the final inning of play. Milwaukee would like nothing better than to try to cushion that lead if they could. They will send the number 2, 3, and 4 hitters to the plate. Dennis GRASER, Phil Higgins, and Jim Dillard, all long ball threats. GRASER so far in the game, 1 for 3. He scored a couple of runs, got on an error, singled, and lined back to pitcher Phil SCHROER. Don Reardon has done the hurling sense, and he picks that off. So twice tonight, bids for hits have been taken away.
He hits the heck out of it, and as you can see, Reardon spears it, takes a short base hit away from him.
Dennis GRASER, the batter now, excuse me.
Yeah, Joe, I'm sorry. The pitchers are such a key defensively, because so many of the hitters try to go back through the middle, and that's where a lot of the action is, you know. And like in baseball, the catcher has all the action. In slow pitch, the pitcher has a lot of the action.
Right field, Jerry Fritz is there, and 2 are quickly gone for Milwaukee. Well, here's the man of the hour with the bat for Milwaukee, Phil Higgins. He has just 1 hit tonight, but it was a fairly large hit. A grand slam home run back in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, fairly large. I think that's, I think you're being gracious. He wanted another in that time, Joe,
yeah,
but he got under it.
Not going to get it. Winders in foul territory, and Milwaukee quickly gone. So Kentucky returns to the dugout. They will have 3 more outs to try to get back into the game. No runs, no hits, no errors for Milwaukee in the 7th. It is still Milwaukee 9 and Kentucky 4. Sports Cable Network. Well, the last chance for Kentucky. And it will be Phil Gowdy NIKITAS and Don Reardon, the scheduled batters to face right-hander Rick Widerman out on the mound. Widerman with a 5-run lead to work with. Gatti takes the first pitch, low for the ball. Gatti 0 for 2 in this game, and he has not been handcuffed in a game so far through the first 6.
Yeah, and Widerman's got one thing in mind: make him hit the ball.
He's being a little overly cautious to Gatti, just as he was on Whitlock earlier, and he lost him. He walked him. 2-1 pitch. Widerman has it, and he'll throw him out.
Thing we talked about so much last night. He didn't have it defensively. Tonight he's all over everything. It comes back that way right at him.
He has really fielded his position very well this evening, and he's been known as an excellent fielding pitcher all through the season.
Exactly.
Well, one down, and NIKITAS, who has been on twice in 3 official trips tonight, scored a run back in the 3rd. Jumps on the first pitch. Laba, third sacker, going to be a tough play. Won't get him. Long throw, and NIKITAS beat it out.
That was a good play by a third baseman. Okay, let's take a look at it real fast. He hits the ball pretty good down the third base line.
Yeah, Laba's as far back behind the bag
really
as you
playing
can
deep,
get.
right? He couldn't get much on the ball either, and with the speed that he has, he beat it out with no trouble.
Here's Don Reardon, third baseman turned pitcher in this game. 2 for 3, a couple of singles. He scored a run in the 5th. 1 gone. And of course, Reardon is the man that Widerman wants to get. He does not care about the runner NIKITAS at first base. NIKITAS right now means nothing as far as Milwaukee is concerned. They have a 5-run lead to work with. So if Widerman can get each individual batter as he comes to the plate, he's got no problem. That, however, may not be that easy. He has the number 2 and 3 hitters due up next.
That was
Reardon,
a knuckleball.
That's second in the order, and then Bill Gatti. Well, he tried to go to right with it. Got out in front of it, and he falls behind Widerman now. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, we talked to the pitchers, Jim, about their philosophy when they get a couple of strikes on a batter, and Phil Schreier said he likes to work a batter inside when he gets that count on him. Let's see what Widerman does.
Right.
Now he comes right down the middle. Oh, what a great play. Throw to first, didn't get him. Well, we've talked about his fielding before, but tonight he has really got it. Last night he didn't, but really a quick glove out there by Widerman.
That ball was by him when he caught it.
Bill Gatti stepped in. He's 1 for 2 tonight with a walk.
Okay, Reardon hits the heck out of it. A bullet right through. You could see it was by him when he caught it and almost got the guy at first place to end the game, first base.
Fine play by Widerman. 2 gone for Kentucky now. So Milwaukee 1 out away from moving within a game of the championship of professional slow pitch softball.
This is the big man, Big Bill.
Well, right now, Gatti really doesn't want to go downtown. Kentucky needs runners. Although if he gets his pitch, he might do her.
Yeah, and the first 2 pitches were knuckleballs. He's going with a knuckleball, another one.
Drops in deep with that one. 2 balls and a strike. Widerman and Dillard thought they might have had a strike on that last pitch. Dillard has been upset on several pitches tonight, but Widerman really hasn't complained too much. Does on this one.
Yes, he does.
2 balls and a strike on Bill Gatti. With 2 down and a runner at first. He got all of that one. No, he did not. It's going to stay in the park. Died on him. And Higgins, it almost died on Phil Higgins out there, too. That ball really pulled up short. Started out like it was going to get out of here. But Higgins has it, and that will take care of Kentucky in the inning and the ball game. And Milwaukee has themselves a 9-4 victory. And they also have a 4-3 lead in the series. The totals in the inning for Kentucky: no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. The final totals in the game for Milwaukee: 9 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. For Kentucky, 4 runs, 11 hits, and 2 errors. The winning pitcher, Rick Widerman, and his series record now goes to 4 wins and 3 losses. And the defeat will be charged to the starter, Phil Schreier, for Kentucky, and his mark goes to 2 wins and 4 losses on the season. So Milwaukee now leads in the series competition 4 games to 3, and a win by Kentucky now a must in the second game here this evening.